What is up, guys? Flossy Missiles here. In today's video, we're gonna start off by putting this on because Andrew's here.
White J's, white Porsche, white wrist, white horse. Hide. I do not sniff it to roll it. It do not drip when I pull it. I do not run, I reload it. I do not save it, I throw it.
He's shy, but I gotta cut it off first. So, yeah, there's a lock on it. Let's cut that off. Do your thing, dude.
So I just do this?
Yeah, it should slide in.
So I have to put a lock in here? Or?
Dude, that looks sweet.
That does.
That looks so cool. So do I have your blessing from the overlanding gods or what?
I think so.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, so like I said, I picked this jerry can up off Craigslist for 10 bucks. It's an old Marine Corps one. I couldn't put a new jerry can on there because the lip on the rear isn't the same. So with that one on there, looks period correct and it looks pretty cool. Addressing the floors on this thing. So I went ahead and got the grinder with the 120 flapper and I ground down. I try to push through with the screwdriver as much of this metal as I can to see what's actually structural and what's rust. And where I outlined with a Sharpie, it's where I'm going to be using the cutoff wheel. I'm going to go ahead and cut off those areas, make use those as templates, and then make new pieces. This one almost looks like a Tetris game over here. The sections I'm going to be cutting and replacing. So let's get cutting. Okay, so as you can see, these are the pieces I'm left with for templates. Go ahead and cut those out, and I'm gonna go ahead and weld them in. Gotta prep it all first, obviously, but all the major rust out of the front end will be gone, so no serious cancer. This next part is fairly simple. Just grab the sheet metal you cut out as a template, use it as a template. If it has a curve to it, you can go ahead and grab a hammer and hammer it nice and flat like I just did to this piece. And then you just want to lay it out somewhere. Right here looks good. Trace it. And then you just got to cut it out. So when it comes to fitting the pieces into place, what I do is obviously there's a bend right here, so I just went ahead and pressed against it and try to mimic that same bend. And then I will try to get it to fit into place. And it fits pretty good, except for it's a little too thick right in this area. So I'll grab my marker and I'll say, I need to trim this down right here. And let's see, anywhere else? Everywhere else looks pretty good. More so right there. So I don't gotta worry about that. Then I'll go ahead and grab my flap disc or whatever kind of grinder I got, and I'll trim that area down. And I'll just keep doing that until it fits nice, and then I'll throw some welds on it. Just been grinding with a 120 flapper disc for probably the last 45 minutes, and that's what it looks like. That's the finished product. There's the other side. I don't know if you can see with the light, but yeah, it came out pretty decent. I mean, main thing is it's really solid and it's not too noticeable. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this rust preventative, and it's like a rust neutralizer stuff too that they sell at the auto body store. Spray that over it, and then spray a maroon color that's close to this maroon color. It won't be exact, but yeah, then that'll be all taken care of. So yeah, the rust preventer also on the bottom, because you know it's fresh metal on the bottom too. You want to hit that with the rust preventer, and then I'm gonna put like a sprayable truck liner stuff. It's not exactly like truck liner, but it's like a rubbery, type of thing. That's gonna keep it protected as best as possible. Hopefully that should last another 50 years. I'm sure it will. Next bit of rust we got to tackle is the dog legs right here. This little guy. The other side's good. Luckily there's like no rust on the other side. And this one's not super bad. So yeah, this is gonna be our next project. First we're gonna have to remove this bumper. There's like 2 bolts here, 2 bolts on the other side, then 4 bolts on the front or something like that. And then we'll take the bumper off, cut it, and we'll make a piece of metal that fits, weld it on. It's like the same thing over and over again. But I'm super excited because there's not much more rust on this whole entire bus, just that. And there's a little bit of rust in the battery tray, I think. I think there's like maybe a little 2 or 3 holes I'm gonna patch up. I'll probably just cut out the whole section depending on how it looks. One mistake I did make on that side was not cutting out enough metal. So I originally had three squares cut out that I was gonna make templates for and weld in. I went ahead and did that, and as I was welding in, you know, each one, some of the metal around it, even though it looked good and I couldn't like, you know, shove a screwdriver through it, like wasn't rusted bad, it still wasn't good to weld on. It was like welding on like a wet napkin or something. So I ended up having to cut out way more metal than I wanted to, and then keep adding on, cut out more, adding on. It's like I should have just cut out a bunch in the beginning until I knew it was like for sure solid metal, and then welded it all in, because that ended up taking way longer. So yeah, just a tip for you guys. Hopefully it's a tip for myself. I remember when next time I have to do this. But yeah, let's get started. So here's the current state it's in. I'm gonna go ahead and grind that down. And after about 4 or 5 minutes with the grinder, that's what it looks like. Came out pretty good, pretty flat. There's a few like little tiny pinholes here and there that I'm gonna go ahead and fill in. And then you can either just, you know, get the DA out and start at like a really gnarly grit, like, I don't know, you know, 60 grit, 80 grit, 100 grit, and work your way up. And then you can just paint it, or you can glaze it, because you know, after you hit a flap disc, you get some pretty gnarly grooves in there. So yeah, that's what you want to do. And there's the second pass, the welder, just to fill in any of the little pinholes. This is what your stack of sandpaper should look like. You know, you start at 60, got an 80 in there, 100, 120, 150, you know, and so on, all the way up to 220 or whatever you want to finally prime it and paint it in. Check out how good that came out. So that's the kind of finish you're looking for. And after we hit it with the primer and throw some paint on it, I got some like, just some Rust-Oleum, looks like some flat orangish color. I'll show it to you guys real quick. So here's the orange paint. So after I put some self-etching primer on it, we're just gonna hit it with this orange. And it's actually, let's see, it's actually pretty close fit, like in color-wise. So hopefully it's not super noticeable, but that patch ended up turning out pretty good. If you want a little bit of a softer edge, just go ahead and leave your tape like halfway up like this. Or you can also pinch the tape and leave a little line in it, just so when the paint, you know, goes in there, the primer, it won't leave you such a harsh edge to try to blend in or knock down or whatever you're gonna do. I just buzzed over that self-etching primer with some 320 grit, and that thing is so smooth you cannot even tell I touched it. Let's go ahead and throw that orange on it now. Boom, there it's done after a little bit of I don't know, sitting, just being in the sun. Hopefully it looks more like the rest of the bus, but right now it's looking pretty good. So I went ahead and painted the bottom side with this rust remover. I think I showed you guys this already. It's a rust remover, and so it converts rust and protects it, paintable surface, yada yada yada. It's supposed to be really good. I looked at reviews online. And then after I painted that on the bottom, I went ahead and hit it with this, which is rubberized paintable coating, and yeah, undercoating. So yeah, you can spray the bottom of it. It's like rubber that comes out. It's supposed to protect it, and it's supposed to, you know, keep rust off it too. So that's all done. I actually threw the bumper back on it, and looks pretty sick. That overspray that's on the bumper is not from me. It's from last time it was repainted. So that's done, and the floors are done. So we can finally move to the back. I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw the doors on it for right now. And also I wanted to show you guys, I got this, there's a dent right here. I got it out. I got most of it out, I should say. I bought one of these, it's like an airbag for moving things. It's like an airbag shim. And I slid it up underneath there and I pumped it up, as a little pump on it, and it just popped the dent right out. So that looks really sweet now. Stoked on that. But I gotta throw the doors on it, throw these rubber mats back in the front of this thing. And the front end's pretty much taken care of. I'm at the battery tray now. I went ahead and grabbed the vacuum and I vacuumed the whole thing out. So I got rid of all the debris that was in there and any crusty junk, whatever. That's the hole. It's pretty big, as you can see with my Sharpie. I marked out where I am going to cut. It's really tight back there. I got the engine still in. I went ahead and covered like the intake and some other stuff with tape, just so I don't get sparks and stuff in there. The gas tank's also right there. I don't want that to catch fire, but we'll risk it for the biscuit. I took out this rear tail light right over there for some more room as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and get the cutting from the bottom. There's not that good of access either, so it should be interesting, but it looks like a really easy panel to patch. It's pretty much just all flat. So let's get to cutting. I'll end up with a hole looking something like that. There's all that rusty metal I had to cut out. So now we're just gonna grab some of this right here, chop out a section. We'll actually make a template first, then we'll chop out a section and weld it in. It's the same procedure for all rust repair that I've done on this pretty much. Okay, new panel's welded in. You can see I ground down right here and right here, but I need to grind down the back a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and spray this, of course, for the stuff I've been using this whole time. So that's it as far as the battery tray. It's actually pretty difficult to get your head in there and try to get everything lined up to weld it, but it's done now, so that's nice. Okay, so that's basically all the body work I'm gonna be doing to this thing. Everything else is gonna be like little cosmetic-y stuff and like interior and getting the engine running. So in the next video, hopefully you guys see this motor finally start up, and hopefully everything's good with it and has no issues. But anyways, thank you for watching this week's video. If you like to, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more car content. Thank you so much for watching.